I've told this story before, but it was pretty telling. So I write about this stuff for a living and have for more than a decade about investing psychology and stay calm and whatnot. My wife and I had this long-standing plan to sell our house in Virginia in April of 2020. Well before COVID, that was our plan. We're gonna put our house on the market in April. In hindsight, like the worst timing possible, because April 2020 was peak COVID panic. The economy was melting down. The unemployment rate was higher than it was during the Great Depression. And so in March of 2020, I called our realtor and I said, hey, I know the plan was to put it on the market in April, but I want to put it on the market right now, tomorrow. And he said, Morgan, don't panic. And I said, oh, I'm panicked. You are looking panic in the face right now. And I'm someone who wrote a book about like, don't panic. And in that situation, I did. I don't regret it because we were going to sell anyways. And it ended up fine. The house sold. It was like no problem. But there's a big difference between how you think you're going to react when everything is calm and everyone's happy versus when you're actually in the trenches, experiencing it firsthand. There could be a big gap between that. And I would say in general, most people think they have a high risk tolerance when everything's going well.
Yeah.
When you're gainfully employed and happy and healthy. And I said, Erica, what's your risk tolerance like? You'd probably be like, oh, it's great. And if the market fell 30%, I think it's an opportunity. It's great. But then when one of these big events happens and there's a pandemic that might kill you and your family, and you might be heading into the next Great Depression, then you think differently about the world. So that's why it's like, I know that whether it's personal or global, there will be something that happens in my life where I'm like, I think differently now. And I don't think that's bad. I don't regret it. It's just everyone is constantly learning how the world works and what they want. That's another side of this, is that I'm sure that my wife and I and my kids will have different goals, different aspirations in my 50s than I did in my 30s, of course. So it would be naive for me to think that I've got this all figured out for the next 50 years. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, you're so right. I remember in March 2020, my dad, who to me is very much like a patient person with his money, he understands that, look, just hold on for the long term. But he's a couple of years away from retirement. So he saw his 401k just crashing. And when you're, versus me many years out, when you're a few years away from retirement and you see your retirement halving, like that,
Scary.
That's scary. And that elicits this emotional response that you couldn't have predicted 2 days before or 5 days before, right?
Yeah. And what's really bad about COVID too is that, so in 2008, the financial crisis, that was a financial crisis. The thing that was happening was in finance.